All right, back as promised. This is literally the turn after the game refused to, the replay refused to commence due to the bug. You can see I've actually got Breya in play this time. I managed to get past the replay monster, and I did exactly that same play that I mentioned. After icing Winter Orb at the end of his turn, I untapped, played Breya, sacrificed both Thopters as well as Seat and Vault of Whispers, killed off his 2 blockers, and sent the Trinket Mage into the 5 counter Gideon, which reduced it down to 3 counters. So went back to his turn right afterward, and we're going to see what he does. And I've got a Muddle the Mixture sitting on top after drawing that Condescend. So it goes back to Dan's turn. So he's definitely suddenly got a bit of a dilemma, but he can attack here still and get me very, very low with an Extort card in play. Smash. I go down to 2, which is very, very scary, and then he uses Karn again and reveals Always Watching and Forest. And I'm certainly going to give him Always Watching. I'm not really concerned about that, given the fact that it's very hard to cast under Winter Orb, and he's completely tapped out, and I don't want him to get more land. All right, back to my turn. Untap the Prairie Stream. Ready. As promised, there he is. Such an awesome card to draw right now. Gives me fuel for Breya to gain life, as well as blockers, and ways to kill creatures as well. So I play Ready. There's a Legacy's Allure on top, which I gave some thought to casting, but at the same time, I feel like I'd rather just kill this creature and not worry about it so much. I don't really want to give him time to even... I don't want to give him time to use it anymore, although I ultimately conclude I can't do that. I'm going to leave the Trinket Mage to block against his Gideon if he attacks, but at least I can shrink it if need be. So I'm just going to send in for 4. This is to kill off the Gideon. Karn is still threatening. It's crazy how tough Karn is to kill. This thing came down on like turn 5, and it's been out the entire game, still just menacing me. But at least this thing is finally dead, and I can sit on Condescend mana and make a token. So he doesn't really have much offense here. I am down to 2, but he's down to just an Avacyn's Pilgrim. Alright, back to his turn. And he finally casts that Sylvan Caryatid in his hand, and he's going to extort me. Down to 1 life. 1 life. Fortunately, I've got mana untapped, but remember earlier in the game when he didn't attack with his Avacyn's Pilgrim when I had stolen his Mother of Runes? That would have forced me to sack my guys right now. Although, thanks to Ready, I've got a very, very easy sack target, and I can throw away one of my mana artifacts, which is likely the Rakdos Signet. So I'm certainly not casting Necropotence this game. So he just used Karn, I think, to go get a Forest, which he then plays. End of his turn. I'm going to just do this in case, so I don't die to some instant speed something plus Extort. You can imagine if you sit there at 1 with not much mana available, and you take it for granted that you can sack in response, and your opponent, you go to sack to gain life, and your opponent goes, I'll cast Nature's Claim on my own thing and extort you and kill you, or whatever. That would be terrible. So to prevent him from doing that, I'm preemptively going back up to 6. Most of my mana is untapped. I draw an island finally. It's like the first land I've gotten off Future Sight, I think, the entire game. Alright, these guys are both going at Karn. I figure there's no way on earth he's going to chump block my big guy with his Sylvan Caryatid, so I can just hit there. Alright, takes Karn all the way down to 1. And Karn at 1 counter is not all that threatening. It can't even make a token. He can go and, I guess, grab something from the remove from game pile, the exile pile, but it's not really that great. And now I feel is finally my opening. Now that I've actually got some instants and sorceries in the graveyard, this is the time to cast the Disciple. So I'm going to play Disciple of the Ring. Comes into play tap, but that's completely fine. Alright, back to his turn. He does have 5 mana available. He uses Karn 1 more time. Get another card from it. Plays a Forest. And his little guy's charging in to deal 1 meaningless point to Ready. But suddenly this game, which looked so hopeless about 4 turns ago, has really, really turned. Sulfur Falls, and a Braid on top that I mentioned in the other video. So I'm certainly going to fire that off. Take out the Avacyn's Pilgrim. Now there's a Worn Power Stone there to further add to my cornucopia of mana under Winter Orb. He's down to just 3, and I've got multiple counterspells in hand, as well as a Disciple of the Ring with 3 land untapped, which means that he's not getting creatures out that I can't tap. Breya can handle them, and I've got plenty of fuel for Spell Pierces in the graveyard. And with that in mind, after thinking for a little while right before my next attack step, Dan7782 packs it in, and the game is over. Well, I'm glad that this replay actually cooperated the second time through when I fast-forwarded in the right spot. I'm sorry that the first replay didn't work, and I don't blame you if you gave up after the first one because it's goddamn frustrating. But for those who stuck around to the bitter and bloody end, hope you enjoyed that, and I definitely will have more cool games to come. See you guys soon.